Joe Calzaghe versus Andre Ward, going out to Tyrese B. Let's get into it. Please tell me how to say your last name. But until then, I'll just say B. Andre Ward versus Joe Calzaghe. Who wins? Who has all the advantages? Well, let's talk about it. Joe Calzaghe. Tremendous hand speed. One of the greatest volume punchers in the history of boxing, next to Aaron Pryor. And he bruises you up with an accumulation of punishment. Oftentimes he gets criticized for his lack of power, but the way most of his opponents have looked after the fight speaks volumes. So, Joe Calzaghe is probably the most awkward fighter I've ever seen, next to Prince Naseem Hamed. He's probably more awkward than Prince Naseem Hamed. Has great head movement, great speed. He's more fluent than Ward. And of course, he's more of a showman than Ward. And so some of the advantages I'm seeing for Joe Calzaghe in this fight. I think he could possibly overwhelm Andre Ward with activity by pressuring him, by swarming him. But on the other hand, could Andre Ward make the adjustments? Could Andre Ward establish his jab, control the distance, hit Joe Calzaghe with something to make Calzaghe respect his power or to make him back off? And those are things that we must think about in this fight. Who could implement their game plan? Who will be more successful at making the other guy fight their fight? Now, one thing to consider is that Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. dropped Joe in the first round. So it seems that Joe Calzaghe may be cold in the first round. So there's something there for Ward. I would say that Ward would need to jump on Joe Calzaghe early on. Hit him with something early on to get his attention and establish dominance in the fight early on. But the longer the fight goes on, the more that benefits Joe Calzaghe. You don't want that guy getting warmed up, and you don't want him getting into his rhythm of swarming, volume punching, dipping in and out, and using that head movement. So Andre Ward would need to establish his jab early on. He would need to control the distance early on and control the pace of the fight. And that's one thing Andre Ward is great at. And like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward is great at making adjustments. And so if he can make the adjustments and gain control of this fight early on and keep control of the fight, I say he wins a decision. But if he doesn't, and he allows Joe Calzaghe into the fight, he could possibly get outpointed by Joe Calzaghe in this fight. So once again, two tremendous super middleweights. But the guy who shows up to implement their game plan is the guy who wins this fight. So will the continual swarming, pressure, volume punching of Joe Calzaghe win, or will the calculated technical abilities of Andre Ward win? I'm going to lead towards Andre Ward by decision in this fight, and the reason being is any fighter who's great at making adjustments is a dangerous fighter. Floyd Mayweather comes to mind. Sugar Ray Leonard comes to mind. Bud Crawford comes to mind. And of course, Andre Ward. And fighters like that, they can adjust to any style. They can adjust to anything their opponents are doing. So while Joe Calzaghe was a hard fighter to deal with all the swarming, pressure, and volume punching, a fighter like Andre Ward would know what to do. A fighter like Andre Ward knows how to establish the jab, go to the body to slow the attack. And so I think that Andre Ward finds a way, makes the adjustments, and finds a way to a decision. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. Sometimes we as fans create the very problems we complain about. We wonder why we're not seeing the big fights. We wonder why we're not seeing the best fight the best. We wonder why fighters are ducking one another. We wonder why fighters are protecting the O. And we wonder why fighters are so inactive. And I truly believe it's because of some of the things that we're saying. We have unrealistic expectations of fighters. We expect them to be perfect all the time. And we have made this undefeated thing such a thing that is literally killing the sport. But yet and still, we will not stop harping on it. We won't stop tearing fighters down for taking a loss. We'll say things like, two-loss Loma, two-loss Lomachenko. We have made this such a thing, and it's gotten to the point to where we're the ones that are stopping the big fights from being made. And it's our fault, because I believe the sport is following the market. I'm not making any excuses for them, believe me, but I believe they're listening to us and they're following the market. And for some reason, they're paying more attention to the casual fans. Also, we as fans really need to stop trying to dictate which fighters are ready for what. I've heard statements about Boots not being ready for Bud, Boots not being ready for Spence. I mean, how will we know unless he's tested on that level? And do we want to see Boots fight on this level for the rest of his career? The way we talk sometimes I wonder, do we even want to see these fights? Why do fans make these statements? Why do fans act against their own interests? I don't understand. And sometimes it's okay to be selfish and want these guys to fight each other. It's okay to want to see the best fight the best. It's okay to want to see the big fights on a more consistent basis. So why do fans do this? Why do we keep harping on the undefeated record? Why do we keep doing the very things that are going to make the promoters and that are going to make the networks not make these fights? Because I truly believe, because of us, these fighters are scared to lose, because as soon as they lose, we trash them and we throw them away, which makes zero sense. Zero, and no pun intended. Why is that such a big deal? Why is that undefeated record such a big deal? So if we as the fans would let the promotional companies and the fighters and the networks know that, hey, we're still going to support you even if you lose. Like I said a few minutes ago, they're following the market. They're following what we're saying. And we can be cruel. We can be cruel. And we can be hard on these fighters. And we can be mean. And so they're thinking, I'm not going to risk losing to lose my position or to lose my standing with the fans. So we, the fans, have to change our behavior. We have to stop contributing to the dysfunction. We really do. Our behavior, I believe, dictates what they're going to do. So if we want to see these fights, sometimes we have to watch what we're saying online. We have to watch our words. And we have to stop trashing fighters for being anything less than perfect. I don't get the mindset of these modern fans. I really don't. There's more promotional tribalism. There's more fanboy, fangirl behavior going on. I personally don't care about the promotional companies. I don't care about the promoters. It's nothing personal. I don't care about the reasons for the fights not being made. It's not my business. I don't care. I, as a fan and I, as a consumer, want what I want. And that's with any industry. That's in any sport. But we continually act against our own interests as fans because we're getting into business that we don't belong in. Who cares how much these guys are making? Let me give you this disclaimer before y'all get sanctimonious on me. I care about the fighters' well-being. I care that they're being compensated. But at the same time, that's for them to work out. That's for them to negotiate. I don't have any fighters that I'm managing. I don't have any fighters that I'm training. I don't have any fighters that I'm representing or that I'm negotiating from. So while I care for the well-being and while I care that they're being compensated, I don't benefit from any of that. I, as a fan, only benefit from the fights being made. You, as a fan, only benefit from the fights being made. So we as the fans have to change our behavior. I could go on and on. I'll probably make more videos on this particular topic, but those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. I'm sure you will.